It's a threat to democracy. And that could cost Liz Cheney her leadership position in a Republican Party that is tearing itself apart right now. The Congresswoman and a handful of other Republicans on one side. On the other, more and more members of what used to be the party of Lincoln, now the party of a disgraced, twice impeached, one-term president who lost the House, lost the Senate, and lost the White House.
Hello.
Trump lost. He lost. He lost. But here's what you should know. Trumpism.
How's it going?
Not as long as Republicans are willing to buy into the big lie. Former president now issuing one statement after another since he was kicked off Twitter in the wake of the insurrection. Tonight, resorting to insulting Congresswoman Cheney.
What did he say about Cheney?
He'll never run in a Wyoming election again.
I'm upset, and apparently Don Lemon's upset as well. How are you?
After labeling the 2020 election he lost, fraudulent, and the big lie in all caps. Of course, here we go again. That's really something. The man who has been shamelessly spreading the big lie, or just big lies. He's lied so much. Come on, people. He's lies on top of lies. That's all he was consistent with, was lying.
Well, at least he's good at something. Why are you... Okay.
Trying to co-opt...
Okay, I'll pause it. Why are you upset? I didn't even realize that it was my sister's birthday today because I was apparently upset about what Barbara did 4 years ago when she screwed everyone in my family over before she died. My father's wife. No good deed goes unpunished. I was trying to help her, and this is how I get paid back. But didn't even remember, and Facebook's like, oh, 2 years ago you made a comment that you forgot your sister's birthday, and it's like, I'm sitting here thinking, whose birthday is it? Well, then I finally realized it. Yeah, why are you upset? Let me see. An idiot decided to say live on his radio show he doesn't want to date you and never said you wanted to or even hinted you wanted to. Well, why do you say that then? I'm going to get a migraine if I don't calm down. I'm still trying not to take any ibuprofen before my immunity is like complete immunity on Friday. Were you a guest on this radio show? He's constantly saying he has no ego. I don't know who you mean, but if they're saying they have no, I don't know. You were in the comments. Well, I'm sorry that you have to deal with idiots. I do too. I think because some men are idiots, I think that I better find my essential oil with lavender and get a can of Coca-Cola, and we can listen to Don Lemon yell because maybe that won't raise my blood pressure as much as me. So, yeah. But I'll read your comments. Yeah.
And label the election itself the election he lost, the big lie. Liz Cheney calling him out, tweeting this. The 2020 presidential election was not stolen. Anyone who claims it was is spreading the big lie, turning their back on the rule of law, and poisoning our democratic system. And that's why the Congresswoman's leadership position is hanging by a thread tonight. She's on the out with the Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, who has made it clear that he'll do whatever he has to do to get on Trump's good side, including making a pilgrimage to Mar-a-Lago just a couple of weeks after the insurrection. McCarthy has the power to call for a quick vote to effectively seek Congresswoman Cheney's removal from this leadership team. Sources tell CNN it is unclear if he will do that as soon as next week. But multiple Republicans say she is on very shaky ground. McCarthy, who defended her behind closed doors in February, now said to be serious. Is Cheney still a good fit for your leadership team, do you believe? That's a question for the Congress. And then there's Mitt Romney, who was the GOP candidate for president in 2012, who voted twice to impeach Donald Trump. He was booed at the Utah GOP convention this weekend.
You know me as a person who says what he thinks, and I don't have the fact that I wasn't a fan of our last president's character issues.
Yeah, you're just gonna have to listen with me, because if I comment on any of this, I'm gonna raise my blood pressure.
Aren't you embarrassed? Now, yes, you might call me an old-fashioned Republican. I am. Then our party.
You can hear it, right? It's on delay, and it's a
Trump, of course,
replay.
on the attack, calling the senator a rhino and a loser. I mean,
Okay.
it's such simple elementary school language, and then we've been talking about it for, 5 years now, even more, a decade, starting with the birtherism thing. A loser. Who does that? It's like some Happy Days crap that people used to say, you're a loser. But yet, he was the president. And the members of Romney's party in his own home state booed him. Okay, that's how complete the Trump takeover has become. The 43rd president of the United States, George W. Bush, warning his party that if they follow Trump's lead, if they become the party of lies, the party of white Anglo-Saxons, they're not going to win.
If the Republican Party stands for exclusivity, it used to be country clubs, now evidently it's white Anglo-Saxon Protestantism, then it's not going to win anything.
I think maybe falling on deaf ears. Republican hypocrisy is on full display with more and more leaders who once spoke out against Trump now tying themselves up in knots to burnish their Trump cred. Whatever happened to the Kevin McCarthy, who said this was 1 week after the insurrection at the Capitol.
The president bears responsibility for Wednesday's attack on Congress by mob rioters. He should have immediately denounced the mob when he saw what was unfolding.
Just 1 week later,
Do you believe that former President Trump provoked?
I don't believe he provoked if you listen to what he said at the rally.
what a difference a week makes. And then there's Chris Christie grading the former president on quite a curve.
Hello.
Oh, listen, overall, I give the president an A.
A for asshole.
Okay. Whatever happened to the Chris Christie who said that he'd vote to impeach Trump over the Capitol insurrection? An A.
I mean, what we had was an incitement to riot at the United States Capitol. We had people killed. And to me, there's not a whole lot of question here. So,
So you think it was an impeachable offense?
Oh, sure. Yeah. And
You'd vote to
I think that, if I think it's an impeachable offense, that's exactly what I would do, George. But I'm not in there. But you want my opinion? That's my opinion. I think if inciting to insurrection isn't, then I don't really know what is.
What do you mean he stole your picture?
An A. Inciting an insurrection, but an A. I would have been summa cum laude if that was the way that my college graded me. I've said it before, sometimes you wonder whether they remember they said this stuff out loud and on television. But that is the GOP today. And the GOP today should stop saying that's not who we are.
Let me look.
Liz Cheney is who we are. Adam Kinzinger is who we are. Charlie Dinn is who we are. No, that's who you used to be. The GOP party of today is willing to say anything, willing to do anything to get on Trump's good side. And it is, well, working for them, to be frank.
I don't.
70% of Republicans think Joe Biden did not legitimately get enough votes to win.
What are you talking about? You mean one of the trolls stole your picture? I'll block them later. They're not, but one of them stole your picture? He heard me and switched it back? Wait. The fourth one up. 1, 2, 3, 4. One of these trolls that's coming in from wherever put your picture on his account? Well, I'll block them. I'm not blocking them right now because I'm just trying not to get a migraine. But are you sure it wasn't just a glitch on your phone? If you really think he, like, I just right now, like, I'm not doing well enough to go back and, like, as soon as you said it, he switched it back. All right, well, I will block them. For right now, just ignore them because I can't handle anything else right now, okay? Yeah, just, we're just gonna have to play the ignore the trolls game right now. If they're not coming in off of Haps, I can't handle any more stress right now. So we're just gonna, like, listen to Don Lemon, and I'm not gonna yell at the TV because I already said one thing you probably heard me say. All right, you just like follow my lead and ignore the trolls. I'm not very good at doing it, but just like they will be blocked, but for right now, just ignore them, okay? They've had Fauci's picture on, and like, yeah, I can't fix everything right now, so I'm just, and what is that? I can't even tell. All right.
I just talked about this with Chris. 70% of Republicans believe the big lie. And it is a lie. So I asked you the question, do Republicans think you're stupid? Does Donald Trump think you're stupid? Because people don't lie to you. No, I'm not going to go there. How the party of Lincoln has fallen. Now they're the party of election denial, the party of insurrection, the party of QAnon, the party of Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, the party of Matt Gaetz under a federal investigation for allegations of sex trafficking and prostitution, the party of ridiculous culture wars over Dr. Seuss, Mr. Potato Head, and red meat.
And by the way, I couldn't find the message. You said you found my Facebook page and commented, and I never could find the comment. But so that's why I didn't reply, because I can't find it.
The GOP now. How can you trust that party when they lie straight to your face every single day? How do you trust someone who lies to you every day? If your family member, if your loved one, if your spouse lied to you every single day, would you trust them?
Thanks.
Are they relevant? Are they even real now? Where are the policy proposals?
Sailing spray.
How can you take them seriously? Liz Cheney, Mitt Romney, you want that to be the party? Well, they've got a whole lot of work. They've got their work cut out for them. Like I said, the American experiment in democracy in peril. As long as you keep letting people get away with this stuff, lie to your face, you don't call them out. You have to confront You know, Ibram Kendi says you have to be an anti-racist, you have to be an anti-liar, you have to be an anti-insurrectionist, you have to be an anti-whitewasher of history, you have to be an anti-bigot. What are we going to choose? What are you going to choose? The truth or lies? Jamie Gangel is here. Jamie, thank you.
He's gonna get fired if he doesn't calm down.
It's so good to see your face. You're a breath of fresh air, and boy, I need to take a breath. Thank you for joining, and it's good to see you. Thanks.
I am so happy to be here, and I just want to say that you and Liz Cheney may not agree on many things,
Yeah.
but you both agree that democracy is in danger.
It is in danger right now. So, speaking of, good evening to you, by the way. Speaking of Congresswoman Cheney, she is condemning Trump. She's condemning the big lie. She's condemning the insurrection. She is not mincing words. What else did she say during this interview with Paul Ryan today?
So this was behind closed doors, and according to two of our sources who were in the room, she stood up for truth and she doubled down on Donald Trump. And let me just read you a little bit of what she said. You mentioned some of this. Quote, "We can't rebuild the party or the conservative movement on a foundation of lies. We can't embrace the notion the election is stolen. It's a poison in the bloodstream of our democracy. We can't be a cult of personality. We can't whitewash what happened on January 6th or perpetuate Trump's big lie. It is a threat to democracy. What he did on January 6th is a line that cannot be crossed," which sounds pretty reasonable, Don, unless it seems you're Kevin McCarthy, who wants Liz Cheney gone as soon as possible.
He does.
Yeah.
There's no love lost between the two at this point.
So this is what I'm told by sources who are familiar with the dynamics. Kevin McCarthy cares about one thing, and that's about being Speaker of the House. And after that tape you played of him on January 13th, where he said Trump was responsible, oops, he wants to take it all back. And he is going after Liz Cheney for one reason and one reason only, his own political gain. He wants back in to Donald Trump's good graces, and he knows the way to do that is to take Liz Cheney out. And my understanding is there will likely be a vote next week, May 12th, when they come back into session.
Jamie Gangel, always a pleasure.
Thank
It's
you.
good to see you. Thank you
Good
so
to
much.
see you.
Does the GOP really want to be the party of election denial, whitewashing, insurrection, and empty culture wars? Do they really want to be the party of lies or the party of truth? Presidential historian John Meacham weighs in. He's next.
Think about what you could think about when you're not thinking about weeds.
I'm gonna open my Facebook on Google and see if Diane saw my happy birthday message that I sent at 11:15 at night.
I mean, where's the proof? Show me the data. Ooh, I see. Kill weeds, not the lawn with Roundup for Lawns products.
You had your kitchen remodeled, made your driveway the envy of your neighborhood, reshingled the roof just in time for a meteor shower, treated yourself to the ultimate backyard upgrade, and removed a truly shocking amount of cat hair from your living room. All thanks to
Doesn't
the
look
top
like
goods
she
you
saw
found
it.
on Angie. Get $20 off your first home project at Angie.com today. Make your home an Angie home. Angie, and done.
Experience matters. For over 100
I see you just liked my fan page. Thanks. Virtualandia Youth Poetry Slam.
Itch, scratch.
But I don't.
Itch, scratch. Must not itch, scratch. Stop the itch sanity. Cortisone 10 maximum strength itch relief without a prescription. Goodbye itch. Cortisone 10.
And the person that was trolling has a purple line. Where did they come in from? What app? Can you tell? Is that Twitch?
recommended. Complete hydration for your sensitive skin.
It's
Are
purple.
you managing your diabetes using finger sticks? With the new Freestyle Libre
And
2 system,
if I click on here, nothing happens.
glucose with a painless 1-second scan. And now with
Hello
optional
from
alarms,
Facebook. Hello.
you can choose to be notified if you go too high or too low. And for those who qualify, the Freestyle Libre 2 system is now covered by Medicare. Ask your doctor for a prescription. You can do it without finger sticks. Learn more at freestylelibre2.us.
You can't see them anymore?
I got nowhere. This helped me.
I blew his Facebook.
Things changed when I tried ZipRecruiter because it works like a free personal recruiter. ZipRecruiter sent me great jobs. I applied with a click.
I use the essential oil that has lavender and put my dust mask on because then it moisturizes the air I'm breathing in
Go to ZipRecruiter.com
and keeps me from
work for you.
hyperventilating from all this stress.
Welcome to the back of your mind.
This is where we learn how to eat.
We do?
We do. And Noom knows that weight loss starts right here, using psychology. Heard of it? I mean, if you have, I have.
You know when your dog is itching for a treat, itching for an outing, or itching for some cuddle time.
This is a borderline annoying commercial.
Licking for help, or rubbing for help. If your dog does these frequently, they may be signs of an allergic skin condition that needs treatment. Don't wait. Talk to your veterinarian and learn more at itchingforhelp.com.
Congresswoman Liz Cheney, the number 3 Republican in the House, doubling down on her criticism of Trump's big lie of election fraud, calling it poison for our democracy. But her rebuke of Trump could very well cost Cheney her leadership position. Let's talk about that now. John Meacham is here, the presidential historian. Good to see you, John. Thanks for joining us. Listen.
So it's a big article, actually.
Yeah. You've got the number 3 Republican leader saying her own party's lies are poisoning democracy. Seems like we are really in dangerous territory right now. Put this into perspective for us.
We are. We have a major party, one of the 2 major parties that is in full flight from fact. It has become captive to its own narrative of grievance and disillusionment with reality. One of the ironies of this is the Republican Party loves to make fun of people who think of themselves as victims, and yet they are brilliant architects of their own narrative of grievance. I think that Representative Cheney has a remarkable opportunity here. I think she's already taking advantage of it to be a kind of Margaret Chase Smith, the great senator from Maine, who in 1950, 4 years before Joe McCarthy was censured, 4 years before, she was the first Republican to stand up on the floor of the Senate and say, in a speech called the Declaration of Conscience, say that McCarthy was out of the mainstream of American tradition of fair play. And I salute her for doing this. It may cost her something in the short term, but if you think about things historically, and if you think about things more structurally, which the Cheney family does, you are doing the right thing. You're on the right side of history.
I mean, John, you don't get more conservative than Liz Cheney. Am I wrong?
I don't think so. No, but that's one of the things that's so important in this conversation. It goes to what you're talking about truth and lies. Is these folks in the Republican Party today? They aren't conservative in a recognizable form.
They're flamethrowers.
This is not Edmund Burke. This is not Eisenhower. This isn't Robert Taft. This is a kind of nihilistic will to power. They're not about ends at this point. The end is the holding and keeping of power. How else do you explain the illogical, immoral embrace of Donald Trump after, I would say before, but let's just take it for what Representative Cheney is saying, after January 6th?
Okay, thanks. Yeah, Purple's Twitch.
Confederate troops didn't get into the Capitol during the Civil War, but they did on January 6th. And so that's not a party that's working within a tradition of Eisenhower and Reagan and the Bushes or the Cheneys. And you can argue all day long, and people will, about the family's public policy positions, but they have been, in fact, part of a tradition, on the right side of that tradition, but part of a tradition in which we argued about the relative role of the state in the marketplace and the relative projection of force against foreign foes and rivals. And that argument is supposed to be what a democracy is. It's not supposed to be, I'm going to choose my entire reality.
Right on. Listen, I don't know which came first, the chicken or the egg, but I often hear you talking about this, and now I hear the president talking about it. I don't know if you said it first or he said it first, but Joe Biden often talks about restoring the soul of America and the need for two healthy political parties. How can that happen when one of the parties is tearing itself apart and is not, as you said, living in reality, creating its own reality?
Yeah, if they were just tearing themselves apart, that'd be fine. The problem is they're trying to tear up the rest of us with them, right? This is not a GOP civil war. This is a war on American democracy because they're not, to use foreign policy terms, they're not a partner for peace, right? In high dork foreign policy thinking, to have a negotiation, you have to have a rational actor on the other side. There is not a rational actor on the Republican side now. And I want to be very clear, this is not reflexively partisan on my part. I have resisted the 1930s analogies. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I have voted for both. I'm George H.W. Bush's biographer, for God's sake. So I'm not exactly a flamethrower. I really, really believe that the Republican Party, as currently constituted and run, is no longer a viable, productive part of the constitutional democratic republic. And it's terrible. This is a party of, and there are people who don't like him, but again, the party of Eisenhower and Reagan and the Bushes, and disagree all you want, vociferously, virulently, but they were part of a structure that made sense, where you followed the rules. If you win one day and I lose today, my job in a democratic republic is to regather my forces and try to beat you in the next election. I don't just say, no, you didn't win. Yeah, that's not true. That reason collapses at that point and passion takes over. And that's what's happening.
Well, I think you're right. And listen, factual analysis is not partisan. But that is the only defense, I think, when the truth isn't on your side, to try to paint someone as liberal or partisan because the facts don't line up with your side. I want you to talk to me, that's a perfect segue to your new podcast. It's called Fate of Fact. You offer a historical perspective on the forces that led to Trump's presidency and the insurrection. Talk to me about that, John.
I really believe that this goes back to the end of the Second World War. All right, the paranoid style in American politics, conspiracies have been with us from the very beginning. But I think that if you look at what happened to take so many Republicans and put them in this cult of personality, to use Representative Cheney's term, what was it, right? It's because the fringe has become mainstream. And my theory of the case, take it or leave it, is that to some extent, ever since the end of the Second World War, Republicans have felt, conservatives have felt, that the presidents they have worked hard to elect have not delivered for them. And in fact, have governed quite differently than what they expected. So Eisenhower comes in, they expect the New Deal to be ripped up. Eisenhower governs pretty much from the center. He appoints Earl Warren to be Chief Justice of the United States. Warren gives the country the Brown decision, the Miranda decision, the removal of sectarian school prayer from public schools, which in 1962 is really kind of the Pearl Harbor of the culture wars. Richard Nixon in 1968 runs hard to the right. He creates the EPA. things about a guaranteed family income, a healthcare plan that makes Obamacare look quite conservative.
Well, just listening with me helps. Thank you. And I just looked at this email. It's like I gave someone a code. If you want a free ticket to Podfest, it's in my profile. I gave someone a code, and they didn't put the code in, and they got charged. And they were already offered a refund. They were offered to either upgrade or get a refund and re-register for a free ticket. And if they don't want to take care of it, it's not my job to take care of everyone else when I can't even take care of myself right now. And it's really hard for me. I already contacted the people that run the conference, and they already offered to refund her money. And if she doesn't want to do anything about it, I need to take care of myself, because I'm not doing well right now. And partly because it's the anniversary of when Barbara died 4 years ago, and it registers as the day of the week to me, not the date. But now I'm shaking again. But yeah, and I like, what if it, you look at it like a cup, and you fill up your own cup first, and you share the overflow. You don't share what's in the cup for you to be okay. I'm not okay. I've been sitting here alone for a year in high risk category. I'm not fully vaccinated yet. My bus pass ID expired because I didn't renew it by April 30th. And it's not my job to take care of everyone else when I can't even take care of myself, and to say, okay, but thank you. Yeah. So, yeah. But I can see that, like, everything is, like, raising my blood pressure right now. So maybe I should take my blood pressure medicine, not just because I'm raising my blood pressure, because also I felt swelling on my ankles, and it's a diuretic that helps with that. Maybe I should just drink a Sprite and not Coke, and take the blood pressure medicine. And let's see if we can get through the rest of Dawn Lemon before I lose the feed. But thank you for wanting to help. I appreciate it.
And he goes to China. And he appoints 4 justices of the Supreme Court, one of whom writes the majority opinion in Roe v. Wade. Ronald Reagan comes in, and that's really going to do it, right? Here's the great hero. And he did cut taxes in 1981, and then he raised them 5 or 6 times, negotiated with the Soviets, and federal spending grew on his watch. George H.W. Bush is the embodiment of this. His decisions, as he put it, to follow sound governance violated the rising right-wing ideology, and Newt Gingrich turned that into the 1994 landslide, as well as anti-Clintonism. And George W. Bush would tell you that there's a line between TARP and Trump in 2008. And so I think many Republicans have become enamored of this story of grievance. The world is arrayed against them, and even the Republican presidents were arrayed against them. So by God, we're going to send you somebody who's totally unconventional.
John Meacham, always a pleasure. Fate of Fact, that's his new podcast. I appreciate you joining us. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you. One Republican telling CNN that Congresswoman Cheney has less support in her party than she thinks. Stay with us.
I'm going to see if the next hour of Dawn Lemon has a replay. Because sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't. What time is it? Let me look at this. Episodes. I was up till like 6 o'clock this morning because I waited too long to take my allergy medicine last night. Let me see. See, all the ones from last week are gone. Free from CNN. Recorded. Free from CNN. Free from CNN on now. So there is a replay. But the one from last week I missed is gone. Yeah, 12:22.
Yeah, you are.
I was supposed to ride my exercise bike because when I took the dance class today, my back was hurting, and so I did most of it sitting down instead of doing the whole like.
You're strong. You power through chronic migraine. 15 or more headache days.
So I didn't
each lasting 4 hours
like.
or more.
I thought it'd be good to ride my bike because I didn't do the lower body exercise, just the upper body.
Check with your doctor if Botox is right for you and if samples are available.
Effects of Botox may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away, as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness can be signs of a life-threatening condition. Side effects may include...
Why are they running an ad for Botox?
Fatigue and headache. Don't receive Botox.
I heard that Botox can help migraines.
Doctor your medical history, muscle or nerve conditions, and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects.
Most patients may pay as little as $0 for Botox. So
I was on the leaderboard for the conference. I got up to 10 and 9 on the leaderboard, and I was 10 last time I checked. But it's a 2-week conference, and if you want to win from being top 10, you got to be top 10 at the end of it. So I'll deal with it again tomorrow. So can acupuncture? Yeah, well, I've hardly had any acupuncture since the pandemic because I can't get the appointments approved. And the clinic I was going to closed permanently and isn't reopening after the pandemic. I used essential oil on acupressure points. I put it on each finger and massage it in my scalp and put it on the point under my nose and behind my ears and the middle of my chest and on my wrists.
So stop by either East or West Portland or Vancouver locations.
I didn't take the Aleve because I want my antibodies to build properly, and it may interfere with the antibodies building after the vaccine.
Want to help kids get their homework done? Well, and internet.
Or if you take it right before the vaccine.
But kids also need computers, and sometimes the hardest thing for homework is finding a place to do it. So why not hook community centers up with Wi-Fi for kids like us and all the amazing things we're going to learn?
And it also started raining. I looked, it didn't say the barometer was dropping, but then I was playing Pokemon Go and it started throwing raindrops. So I'm a human barometer. I can feel the weather, even from inside.
I'm John Harwood at the White House, and this.
Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy is said to be furious at GOP Congresswoman Liz Cheney as she calls out the party's embrace of Trump's big lie. McCarthy has the power to call for a quick vote that could remove Cheney from his leadership.
Why don't we remove Kevin McCarthy?
Jamie Gangel, you saw her reporting at the top of the show, reported the call for that vote could come on May 12th. So joining me now, CNN's senior political analyst, Mr. John Avalon, and CNN political commentator, Ms. Ana Navarro. Good evening to both of you. Thanks so much. Let's see. John, let's pose this question to you about Liz Cheney. Not afraid to call out Trump and his lies. She's taking a huge risk here. How is this going to end, do you think?
I think clearly her leadership position is at risk, but she's fighting the good fight. She's fighting the right fight. Should not be a jump ball between truth and lies. And the fact that Kevin McCarthy is trying to create some equivalence between truth and lies speaks to a deeper sickness in our politics and the Republican Party. But make no mistake, this is dangerous for democracy to have one political party decide that they're going to back the big lie in the face of all facts because they think it's in their short-term interest.
McCarthy is said to be furious. He wants her out of GOP leadership. He can call for a quick vote to oust her if he wants. Is this what happens if you stand up for truth?
They already took one vote against her.
It really is astounding. It is astounding that he's okay with Matt Gaetz, who's being federally investigated for sex trafficking with a minor, but he's furious at Liz Cheney for speaking the truth and for fist bumping the President of the United States. Now, think about this. Think about the hypocrisy here, okay? They are mad at Liz Cheney for fist bumping Joe Biden. Donald Trump had Hillary and Bill Clinton at his wedding. They are calling Mitt Romney a traitor and a communist and a rhino. They're calling Liz Cheney a rhino. Let's look at the federal spending.
All right, you want my comment that I said I wasn't going to make? It's all total fucking bullshit, and it is risking democracy in this country.
And national debt under Donald Trump, 36% up. Let's look at his relationships with Russia and with Putin. He kowtowed to them. Let's look at his family values and social values. A man who cheated on his wife with a Playboy bunny and cheated on the Playboy bunny with a stripper. And you're going to call the other folks rhinos? So really, I think the reason they're furious at Liz Cheney is because she makes them look like a bunch of invertebrate, cowards, morons, lemmings who are following a man, who are following the cult of personality and are violating Republican principles and convictions. That's why they're angry at her, because she makes them look awful, like what they are.
So let's talk about this poll. There's a CNN poll out, shows 7 in 10 Republicans, 7 in 10, think Biden did not legitimately win the election. Is this really what this is about? Republicans in Congress are more afraid of going against the base and setting the record straight?
I think it's clear there's an authoritarian streak that runs under ethno-nationalism, and that the fealty to Trump is taking on a totalitarian quality. But that 7 in 10 is a dangerous metric. Because it's all part of the self-same perpetuating cycle. You've got a closed media ecosystem forcing politicians to the extremes. That's reinforced by these closed partisan primaries. Everybody says, look, I'm fundraising off this stuff and it'll help me win a primary, so I'll just agree not to speak the truth. And then that reinforces a lie that is metastasized in our body politic. It is dangerous, it is dumb, it is self-defeating, but it's a predictable result of the incentive structure that's been set up. We need more people with courage to stand up and speak out. Because that's what it's going to take.
All right. Thank you both. That's all we have time for. I appreciate it. The question is, will Trump join Rudy Giuliani's court fight after his home and office were raided? That's what Giuliani's famous legal advisor hopes as the team gears up for a fight.
Let me see if I can go to the screen and see what time I took my antihistamine yesterday without losing the broadcast. Hold on a second.
Aliens are real, all right. There's just too much evidence. But ghosts, not so much. I mean, where's the proof? Show me the data. Ice-T.
Kill weeds, not the lawn, with Roundup for Lawns products.
Lawn, mowed, cabinet, handled, bathroom, tiled, air, conditioned, rack, mounted, parking, placed. Your project finished with a little help from Angie. Get $20 off your first home project at Angie.com.
All right, it says 20 more minutes.
Angie, and done.
That's a very good
So I can take more allergy medicine.
What about me? An evening for me?
What about me? Did I get one too?
What's an evening?
And it better be one for me. And what about Michelle from Michigan?
Me? What about me? Will that be an evening for me?
Me?
Me? Me?
Our Confident Forever plan is possible with a CFP professional.
A CFP professional can help you build a complete financial plan. Visit letsmakeaplan.org to find your CFP professional.
Dinner, constant struggle, wasting time buying food you don't need, stuck in a rut making the same recipes. Hit refresh with HelloFresh. Get simple recipes and fresh ingredients delivered to your door. Use code TV12 for up to 12 free meals.
As your business changes, the United States Postal Service is changing with it. With e-commerce that runs at the speed of now, next day and 2-day shipping nationwide.
Train bridge collapses in Mexico.
Let's not keep it waiting.
I called my grandfather as a result of
Mexico
the
City.
research that I've started to do on Ancestry, having Ancestry to fill in the gaps with documents, with photographs. Connecting in real time means that we're having conversations that are richer. I have now a closer relationship with my
I was
grandfather.
talking to this woman in India when I called about a credit card, and I asked about the situation there, and it's so bad that even though there's vaccines, it's not safe to go out and get one. It's safer to stay home and wait and get it later.
United Shades of America with W. Kamau Bell, Sunday at 10 on CNN.
May is Maytag month at DeWitt. Maytag, what's inside?
I don't know if you're still here or not,
$200
Susan.
via prepaid card by mail with the purchase of select major Maytag appliances. May is Maytag month at DeWitt, Portland's appliance experts.
Oh, you are? Okay. Yeah, I asked her how she was doing, and I told her that, like, I'm trying to keep things in perspective. If my credit card got declined 3 times because I used a temporary online number, like, and I got the new card and I didn't activate it, then I need to go across the room and find the piece of mail with the card and activate it and keep my priorities in order, because India is so bad right now. They're burning dead bodies in the street, like, because there's nowhere to bury all the people that are dying from COVID right now. Like, it's really bad.
It's the biggest week in television. Watch-a-thon week gives your chance to finally watch shows you missed for free. Now you get to talk about them with your friends.
And I should check and see how my friend and his parents in India are doing. I should at least look at his Facebook page and make sure they're okay, because the parents both had surgery recently.
At Factory Direct, special savings. Dishwashers, ranges, refrigerators, and specialty built-in appliances.
You have friends there, he scopes?
Portland's appliance expert.
Yeah, I should look. I'm just...
Well, let's get right into the news. Nothing could be funnier than that.
not up to seeing any more bad
Story
news.
tonight about Rudy Giuliani, his lawyer Robert Costello, telling CNN that they're gearing up for a legal battle with the feds over material seized.
Yeah, good
from
luck
Giuliani's
with
home
that.
and office last week. Costello also saying there's currently no coordination between Giuliani and Donald Trump's legal team. I want to discuss now our senior legal analyst, Laura Coates, is here, a former federal prosecutor. Laura, good to see you. Thanks for joining. Let's get this in. There's a lot to cover. So Rudy Giuliani's attorney is telling CNN that they're set to add some lawyers to their legal team. Do you think they have any chance of blocking federal prosecutors from accessing his phones and computers?
No,
unless they have some actual knowledge that it's privileged material in there. Remember, they tried this before in the sense of Michael Cohen, when there was a discussion about whether or not, because of his attorney-client relationship with Donald Trump when he was then president, whether the data was actually going to be privileged. They had a special independent person who looked over at every information and said, hey, is there any portion that has to not go over to the prosecutors? That person creates a bit of a wall, and only that which is not privilege would go over. So unless they can actually show that there is something in the files that actually implicates or relates to that relationship, they will have no cause as to why the prosecutors cannot see it, but they'll try to raise it nonetheless. And unless Trump signs on in some meaningful way to say, hey, look, there's a privilege claim, they've got nothing there.
I want to talk to you about, there are some people who want to join the Trump team. You know, specific, I should say, a person. We'll talk about that right after this quick break with Laura.
Trump will probably throw Giuliani under the bus like everybody else, except for if they go after Giuliani, they might be able to get Trump as well.
A brand new way for you to sell your car. Whether it's a year old or a few years old, we want to buy your car.
Although that last thing about privilege, I'm not quite sure about that part.
Your car value and give you a real offer in seconds. When you're ready, we'll come to you, pay you on the spot, and pick up your car.
Should I look and see if Prashant is still in India and if he's okay? I'll look.
It's time to start using Fungi Nail. Maximum Strength Fungi Nail is so powerful it cures and prevents fungal infections. Plus, it has aloe and tea tree oil to restore skin health. Say goodbye to toe fungus with Fungi Nail.
Yeah. We'll share our home mattress for French fries.
Did you know you can get 5 more matches if you give your social security number?
No one really tries to be unsafe.
April 21st.
But every time you give up info and privacy, you give up a little safety too.
Humble request especially to everyone in and around India right now. Also, I'm presently near Nashik and eligible to donate convalescent plasma. What? Wait a minute. How can he donate convalescent plasma and please DM or comment if need be? If you know of hospitals nearby that could use plasma, I'm able to go and donate too. What? How can he be eligible to donate convalescent plasma? Does that mean he had COVID? If you know of hospitals nearby that could use plasma, I'm able to go and donate too. Praying for safety and good health through a horrendous second wave of COVID-19. Okay, let me see. Lastly, if you're eligible for the vaccines, please go get it ASAP. Wear an N95 mask and go if you're afraid of it being crowded at the center. Not wear an N95 mask and go if you're afraid. Wear an N95 mask regardless. It's so bad that people won't even go with masks on. It could be our last hope to avoid getting infected at this point in time. My humble request to everyone in India, get vaccinated ASAP and continue to maintain social distance and use masks whenever around people. What does it say? Please give my love to Auntie, Uncle. You have such sweet parents. I remember them with a lot of fondness. Stay safe. We've been hearing of this scary situation happening in India from family and friends. And his mother replied, what did she say? Thank you so much, dear Lisa. How are you and your daughter? Take care. I'm giving them a care emoji so she knows I saw that. Prayers and blessings to your family. I hope soon India gets the emergency support and everything they need ASAP to overcome this second wave. Keep looking for news from you. I hope you and your family are safe and well. Sending you wishes for strength and peace. They're shutting down our state. We're on high alert. What are you talking about? You're talking about Oregon moving the counties back into extreme risk last Friday because it's the highest growing rate of COVID in the country right now? Yeah, okay.
She's worked in retail during the holidays, as a barista during rush hour, and a nanny to a couple of rambunctious kids. Now, all that experience has led her to a job that feels like home. With Home Instead, you too can become a caregiver to older adults with a career that makes a difference. Apply today.
At Jackson Hewitt, we offer safe and easy ways to file with a skilled tax pro. Securely drop off your documents, have them picked up, or upload them and work with a tax pro online from home. Safe and easy ways to file that work around you.
Want some laughs?
Hell yeah. DJ, hit that beat.
I want to have fun. I want to laugh.
You funny, old man. This was you. You took some hits along the way, huh?
There's a compliment you don't hear every day. Here today, rated PG-13.
You know when your dog is itching for a treat.
They're playing the annoying commercial again. It said one new like and one new comment on my fan page, but I'm not seeing the comment. I see the like.
You know when he's itching for help. Licking for help. Or rubbing for help. If your dog does these frequently, they may be signs of an allergic skin condition that needs treatment. Don't wait. Talk to your veterinarian and learn more at itchingforhelp.com.
It's so easy to sell on Poshmark. You just pick out your item, snap a couple.
Or you could just say screw it and go play Paul Green's gospel concert from yesterday.
$100 on Poshmark just selling items on profit.
Buy and sell from home with the Poshmark app.
I spent months looking for a job. I got nowhere. This
Help me deal with that frustration. Things changed when I tried ZipRecruiter because it works like a free personal recruiter. ZipRecruiter sent me great jobs.
Your video is partially muted because it may contain music that belongs to Warner Chappell Music. Who the fuck cares? Sorry, that's not an appropriate response.
Still helps. Go to ZipRecruiter.com and put ZipRecruiter to work for you.
Calling all builders, all welders and roofers, engineers and electricians. Calling all brick masons and boiler makers, steel workers and steam fitters. Your country is calling you to rebuild America.
That video is partially muted from a week ago. I already saw that.
This is the job of our lifetime. It's time to build back better. Let's get to work.
Welcome to the back of your mind. This is where we learn.
Why is it asking me to add a bio on my Facebook page? Don't I already have a bio on there?
Our senior legal analyst, Laura Coates, is back. Laura, so I'm talking about, before the break, Alan Dershowitz saying Trump should join the court fight. That he should. Do you think Trump would do that? And what about Giuliani's next steps?
Well, what's in it for Donald Trump to join in unless there is actually some privileged material that could actually implicate him? Remember, he doesn't have the same protections that were available to him when his former attorney, Michael Cohen, was in a similar position, although Cohen was actually indicted with a crime. Giuliani has not yet been charged, or maybe not at all. And so the idea here isn't the protection of being a sitting president who does not have the ability to be indicted according to that DOJ memo. And so him putting his neck out on the line to essentially say that this person has done nothing wrong, or this person has acted at my direction and therefore was not some operative or an agent of a foreign nation, you have to ask yourself, what is in it for Donald Trump? But of course, if Donald Trump cannot provide some sort of financial backing in the form of actually being able to provide for the defense, or any ability to pardon, or to be able to give an exit ramp for Giuliani, he becomes a less of an attractive person for Rudy Giuliani, ultimately, if he is implicated to try to defend or try to divert eyes away from. And so it all comes down to this big question, Don. What would possibly be in it for Donald Trump, ultimately, of actually being able to provide for the defense, or any ability to pardon, or to be able to give an exit ramp for Giuliani, he becomes a less of an attractive person for Rudy Giuliani, ultimately, if he is implicated to try to defend or try to divert eyes away from. And so it all comes down to this big question, Don. What would possibly be in it for Donald Trump? If there's nothing there to implicate him, he may leave Giuliani out to dry.
Never ends. Always something new, Laura. Thank you so much. I'll see you soon. Have a good night. One Republican speaking out saying the big lie is just that, a lie. And it's gotten most of her party angry. Stay with us.
So now we're coming back around to that story again.
New delicious wok seared steak and shrimp. Order today from Panda Express.
They didn't put Beaverton back in extreme risk, but they put Clackamas and Multnomah, but not Washington County.
New Cetaphil Deep Hydration Facial Collection delivers lasting 48-hour hydration, hyaluronic acid plus exclusive hydrosensitive complex. Replenish and soothe skin. Cetaphil, dermatologist recommended. Complete hydration for your sensitive skin.
You had your kitchen remodeled, made your driveway the envy of your neighborhood, reshingled the roof just in time for a meteor shower, treated yourself to the ultimate backyard upgrade.
Oh, I said I could take my allergy medicine at 12:50. That's in 2 minutes.
To the top pros you found on Angie. Get $20 off your first home project at Angie.com today. Make your home an Angie home. Angie, and done.
As your business changes, the United States Postal Service is changing with it. With e-commerce that runs at the speed of now, next day and 2-day shipping nationwide, and returns right from the doorstep. It's a whole new world out there. Let's not keep it waiting.
Tonight, I'll be eating fried avocado tacos. Thank you. Ooh, you gonna eat that at Leslie Palooza? What? Who's coming to that? Everyone coming. Everybody. You, her, me, all of them.
Think about what you could think about when you're not thinking about weeds.
Aliens are real, all right. There's just too much evidence.
Kill weeds, not the lawn, with Roundup for Lawns products.
Harlow, Shudo, Baldwin, King, Cabrera, Camarada, and Blackwell.
I heard Allison Camerata when I fell asleep with CNN playing on my phone. Her show's on at 9 in the morning now.
Whether it's work works for me, school work, it works, or a workout.
I think.
They've got Xfinity, which delivers Wi-Fi faster than a gig for all their devices. It's more than enough to keep everyone working. Can your internet do that? This is work.
With John Blackwell?
Now Xfinity delivers Wi-Fi speed faster than a gig. That means you'll have gig speed over Wi-Fi to power a house full of devices. Learn more about gig speed today.
This summer, enjoy cool comfort throughout your home with the new air conditioner or heat pump from ATEM. If you purchase and install your heat pump or air conditioner by May 31st and the outside temperature reaches 96 degrees or higher at PDX on the 4th of July, ATEM will refund your entire purchase price. We call it 96 and free. But remember, to be eligible, you need to have your heat pump or air conditioner installed by May 31st. Family owned for over 50 years, ATEM Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
United Shades of America with W. Kamau Bell, Sundays at 10 on CNN.
Closed captioning brought to you by Mesobook.com.
We proudly help veterans with mesothelioma. Call for a free book. 1-800-822-0400 or go to Mesobook.com. Not backing down against Trump. Congresswoman Liz Cheney, the number 3 Republican in the House, calling Trump's big lie of election fraud poison for our democracy and saying we should not whitewash the Capitol insurrection. Police in Elizabeth City, North Carolina, arresting protesters tonight, hours after the funeral of Andrew Brown Jr., who was shot to death by police. Protesters demanding release of the body cam video. And the battle against COVID, the daily number of cases and deaths in the U.S. now only 1/5 of what they were during the worst days of the pandemic in January.
What are the
Joining
numbers?
us and senior political analysts Ron Brownstein and Kirsten Powers. Also political commentator Scott Jennings. He's a former special assistant to President George W. Bush.
Okay.
Good to see all of you. Welcome one and all. Scott, I'm going to start with you. So these Liz Cheney comments are so extraordinary. This is what sources tell our Jamie Gangel that she said behind closed doors at the Republican conference. Okay, and I quote, "We can't rebuild the party of the conservative movement on a foundation of lies. We can't embrace the notion the election is stolen. It's a poison in the bloodstream of our democracy. We can't be a cult of personality. We can't whitewash what happened on January 6th or perpetuate Trump's big lie. It is a threat to democracy. What he did on January 6th is a line that cannot be crossed." That is not mincing words. It's wild to think that she is telling the most obvious truths, and she could pay a very heavy price for it.
Yeah, no question about it. I mean, what the Republican leader, Kevin McCarthy, hopes that she would say is, you know, I've said all I have to say about it. I haven't changed my views, but I'm focused on the future. That's what he wants. But I know the Cheneys a little bit, and they weren't put on this earth to kiss rear ends or eat crap. And she's not going to do it. And it might cost her a job, if you believe the reporting that's floating around out there. But I'll guarantee you it's not going to cost her a minute's sleep, because she believes she's right about this. And as a matter of long-term politics, she is right, because the Republicans are going to go back to the American people in 24 and say, we want the White House. We need to be entrusted with responsibility for governing the country. And if the party is relitigating 2020 while we're making that ask of the American people, my assumption is we will once again lose the national popular vote, as we have done every time since 2004, and unless your name is Bush, every time since Ronald Reagan. So I don't think they should excommunicate Liz Cheney. I think there has to be room in the party for differing opinion on this because obviously she's telling the truth. And we're going to need everybody if we hope to win elections in the future. Ron,
we need more people like Liz Cheney, regardless of what your political affiliation is, right? I mean, she is what Scott just said, not worried about, she may lose her job, but she can sleep at night. She is welcoming this fight. What do you think her motivation is here?
I think it's pretty much what Scott said. I mean, she believed, and what you quoted. I mean, what happened on January 6th was, as Joe Biden said in his speech to Congress, the most dangerous day for American democracy since the Civil War. You see in Donald Trump a figure who is willing to subvert any rule or norm in order to maintain power, and an astonishing portion of the Republican Party has been willing to go along with it. I mean, you're still seeing, even in our latest CNN poll, 70% of Republican voters still say, despite all the evidence to the contrary, that the election was stolen. And so, she is, I think, drawing the right line. The tough part, the tough question is that she is clearly at this point representing a minority of the party. And do those voters who find this direction of the Republicans not only misguided, but dangerous, what do they do now that the evidence is so clear that they are the minority part of the party, and will become clearer if Republicans oust her from a position, starting next week?
Kirsten, I think we probably know the answer to this. A little true speaker here. Kirsten, why do Republicans think sticking with Trump is going to help them win? He lost Republicans in the House, he lost in the Senate, and the White House.
Because they think, well, it really depends on who they are, right? Because if you look at the senators, they are less beholden to him because they're not, they're representing states. They're not representing districts the way a lot of the people in the House are. And they're representing districts where they have majorities of people who do support Trump. And that is where a lot of the energy is. I'm not saying that excuses them going along with this. The idea that Liz Cheney is in trouble with the Republican Party for acknowledging that a legitimate election was legitimate is insane. And so, that just shows you that this is a personality cult, not a party, because this is something that should, pre-Trump, this would be unthinkable, truly. The idea that somebody like Liz Cheney would be on the outs with the Republican Party, somebody who is a brand name, member of the party, and also extremely conservative.
Scott, Cheney says that we can't whitewash what happened on January 6th. And the D.C. police officer, Metro police officer, Michael Fanone, who was injured, severely injured defending our Capitol that day, used that same language on this show. Take a listen.
It's been very difficult seeing
I forgot something on my schedule.
Elected officials and other individuals kind of whitewash the events of that day or downplay what happened. I experienced the most brutal, savage, hand-to-hand combat of my entire life, let alone my policing career, which spans almost 2 decades.
How do Republicans hear that, Scott, and still justify going along with Trump's big lie?
Yeah, truthfully, I don't know, because the video doesn't lie. I mean, we've all seen the video. We have seen hours and hours of people battering police officers, breaking into the Capitol, rappelling down the side of the walls of the Senate. I mean, it was heinous. I'm still appalled and mortified by what I saw. I still have to talk to my kids about it, because they've seen the videos too. We're going to have to live with that. And by the way, as a political matter, we have to live with it in the next election cycles, because I suspect the Democrats are going to say, you can't trust these people. Look what they're willing to put up with. You want to give them power again? And we're going to have an answer for that. And so I don't know how to answer your question, Don, but I know this. Videos don't lie. We saw what we saw. What happened. And we ought to come to grips with it and understand that that's not who we are as a Republican Party. It's not who we are as Americans. And we ought not coddle it or make excuses for it.
Well, Ron, you've seen the polling. You know what the polling says. Only a small part of the Republican Party actually agrees with Cheney. What happens to these voters going forward?
I think it's just an absolutely critical question. I mean, somewhere between a fifth and a quarter of the Republican Party disagrees with basically everything that has happened since the election, are horrified by what happened on January 6th. Obviously, Republicans are hoping that they stay in line because they don't like like the Democratic agenda, but I think it is a really open question, Don. And I think Scott is suggesting the right frame of reference here, looking at 2024, because it's possible that in 2022 this will not be a huge problem for Republicans. The electorate is smaller. It is more kind of dispersed over local issues in the midterm. But when you get to 2024 and that big electorate again, and Republicans are asking for the grant of power from the country to run the country again, and they have not only not renounced this, but they punished the elected officials who kind of called out the truth and celebrated those like Ron Johnson, who were saying that it may have been Antifa, or Trump himself saying it was a love fest. That is when I think the challenge really comes to the kind of sharpened point, much more than we'll see, I think, in 2022.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about that, Kirsten. You heard what Ron said, and then just moments ago, Scott mentioned, about the GOP and the problem about their party officially becoming the party of the big lie and gaslighting. Even if Trump left the party tomorrow, how can Democrats trust Republicans as a governing party going forward?
They can't.
As a governing party going forward.
Well, I don't think there really can be trust in the situation until there's some accountability and until there's some repentance and some owning of the things that have happened. And what happened, what happened on January 6th is, a tragic, tragic day in the history of this country. And Liz Cheney is right. It is not
Kirsten,
something that
you say the owning of it. Do you think the people who are in power now and the people who supported the big lie, do you think they're actually going to come out and say, well, I was wrong, or...
No.
Okay.
No, but you're asking me, how would you restore trust?
Right.
And I don't think you can restore trust in any relationship until you own what you have done and until you make amends and you try to change course and go in a different direction. So I don't envision that happening, but I also don't see how anybody can trust people who have repeatedly gone against everything that they claim to have believed. Basically 5 minutes ago, I commend Scott for being consistent because it's not something that we're seeing a lot of today.
No, Scott is always consistent. That's why he's on the show.
Good night.
He's a Republican. He has his views. He's allowed to do that, but Scott tells the truth, and I commend him for it. Scott, thank you. Thank you, Ron. Thank you, Kirsten. I'll see you soon. By the way, Scott's half the man that he used to be. Look how much weight he's lost.
I know.
Looking good. Send me your secret, Scott. I need to know. See you later. I want to turn now to the protest following that deadly police shooting of Andrew Brown Jr., a black man killed by sheriff's deputies who were trying to serve an arrest warrant. CNN's Brian Todd live for us in Elizabeth City, North Carolina this evening. Brian, good evening to you. Police say that 4 protesters have been arrested in Elizabeth City tonight. You saw this all happen. What do you know?
Well, Don, it's becoming evident to us that the police are getting less and less tolerant of these protests tonight. They went after the protesters earlier in the evening tonight than they ever have since we've been here. They went after them starting around 6:20, 6:30 Eastern time. They had never gone after them that early in the evening before. They'd given them plenty of room to protest all night long, to march from street to street and block intersections left and right. Tonight, they were just having none of that. They went after these protesters. They told them to stop blocking intersections or they would be arrested. We witnessed at least 4 people being zip-tied, taken into custody, and arrested. They were charged with impeding traffic. We talked to one of the protest leaders, Kirk Rivers, who had argued with police. He said he had a permit to be out there. The protests had been going peacefully. He was wondering why he was getting arrested along with 3 other people. Here's what he had to say shortly after he posted bail and got out.
Say, try to be peaceful. Try to make sure that everything is by the book, and yet you still get arrested. What does that send a message out? But we're going to continue to play by the books, do things the right way, because it's about bringing justice. It's not about the 4 of us, but it's about making sure that we bring justice for Andrew Brown.
Well, Brian, as you know, it's a very emotional day for the community because Andrew Brown Jr. was laid to rest earlier. What was it like?
It was very, very emotional, Don. Basically, on the part of everyone who got up and spoke, there was a lot of music. It was interesting because the Brown family and this community, they're processing all of this kind of on 3 fronts. Of course, they're grieving the loss of Andrew Brown. They are celebrating his life, but also this is a call for justice and accountability, and all of that was mixed together today at this funeral. Some of the most emotional Words came from Andrew Brown's two grown sons, Jaron and Khalil Farabee. Here's what they had to say at the funeral.
Me and my dad, we was like best friends. You know, every time you seen him, you seen me. You seen me, you seen him. I just wish he was here with us. But as much as I'm going to wish and wish and wish all day, it's not going to happen. All I got to do for myself and my family, we just got to hold him down. Do what he would want us to do in life. I love you, Pop.
So some real gut-wrenching moments today at this funeral, and we have some news for you, Don. After the funeral, we were told by an attorney for the Brown family, Bakari Sellers, that the family, through their attorneys, is going to draft a letter. They're drafting a letter now calling for the local district attorney, Andrew Womble, to recuse himself from the investigation and from any prosecutions in this case because they believe he has worked too closely with deputies at this sheriff's department in the past and in recent days, even aside from this case. They think he's just too closely intertwined with the sheriff's deputies here to be objective, and they're trying to get him off the case. We have reached out to Andrew Womble for comment on that. We've not heard back.
Brian Todd covering the story from the very beginning. He will continue to. Thank you for your reporting tonight, Brian. Joining me now, the mayor of Elizabeth City, North Carolina, and that's Betty Parker. Mayor Parker, thank you so much. I appreciate you joining us. You just heard Brian Todd's report about the protesters who were arrested. He's been with these same protesters for days and days. They've been peaceful the whole time. So why are police making arrests now, Mayor?
Thank you, Don, for having me this evening. And I would like to also send out condolences to the Brown family. I like to always do that first because it's been a horrific time for them and for our community. Now, Don, I'm going to be candid with you. I have been in a meeting since 5:30 this afternoon, and I'm not aware of the arrests or what really happened this evening because I didn't get out of my second meeting until about 10 a.m. So I'm not sure about what happened, but I will say this, is that basically our citizens have had peaceful protests, and they have been rather cooperative with the police. However, we have had some bad actors, which actually caused us to have a curfew Tuesday, actually beginning Tuesday night. But things improved. But there are intersections.
Shape your life. Dramatic.